Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Does Dylan Vincent have trouble submitting videos on time?
Wait, what? Where to start? Okay, well, welcome to In the Eyes of the Beholder with me, Dylan Vincent, as your host. Hello. I am going to try and review things again this week. Isn't that wonderful? I got the lamp up again. Have you noticed that my face is all shined up? It's very hot. But, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Roxio is out of the commission, but I don't care. I hated Roxio. Killed my editing. So I'm going to try and just do it with Windows if I can. If I can also find something to do it with, then you'll probably notice something different than it was from last week's vid. I think I'm going to be mainly reviewing certain things that are no way connected. Some of them you already known, some of them connect to old things I've done. But the first one, in particular, you have not. As me, I am a person of randomness. I choose things by random, so I can be able to do things randomly, to make it seem more random. They have all these different kind of codes to do the random thing, but none of them really piqued my interest, because they were very lame, they didn't work that well, they did crap that I didn't like, because they freaking made everything just so difficult to do. I want a random number between 1 and 100. That's all I want. 100. As you can see, it's impossible. Unless there's a site that found something that can actually aid me in my time of need. You know? Could aid me. That site is random.org. I should have been able to found it on the first try. Didn't. Random.org is by far one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Just, it does things that I love. You have the random counter, which selects numbers between 1 and God, whatever number you put up there. Any number. But I don't think decimals. I never tried it. So you just do random things. There's also a list randomizer, which I do a lot with Pokemon games for reasons disclosed to you all. But yeah, random.org feeds my randomosity. I need that. So yeah, it's probably one of the coolest sites. You might actually want to actually put that in your favorites. Random.org. Not that hard. Something that's been peeking up lately. I know I've talked about it last week. A Newgrounds submission. Be careful. Be careful. It's not gonna hurt you. It's one thing. It's called bubble quote. Bubble quote is about a person in a bubble. Not a bubble person. They are forced to wear the bubbles so they can work in their toxic place area. The first one wasn't really that kind of connected to it. The first one was more of a sketches. You had the backdrop, which was sketches, and the main thing you had to do was pop your bubble to get out. That's how you succeeded to the next level. You got in your bubble again, and then you had to go pop it again with some kind of rusty nail somewhere. It's a very fun physics platform game. Physics meaning that things are defined by physics on the internet. I know. It's an oxymoron. Physics on the internet doesn't even work. But bubble quote is kind of cool. The first one is kind of like a sketchy kind of thing, and you have to pop your bubble. There is another one called the bubble quote Xmas thing. I don't know if that was called it, but the bubble quote Xmas, you basically had a bunch of Dyson spheres, like 5 or something, and your objective was to get them all to their area on the Christmas tree. You weren't supposed to pop them, but it was more, but the setting was more like of the first one. But the thing you had to do was more like the second one. The sequel, Bubble Quote 2. Bubble Quote 2 is where story comes in. And it did a pretty good job. You are a person in a bubble, and you have to work in some kind of toxic place, and you're trying to escape. Or leave. And it has a lot more obstacles, it has a lot more objects you can use. It's pretty cool. It doesn't have like the kind of scheme in the background, kind of like the first one, but you know, you find that it's pretty cool still. Has all the story, and you even get to use multiple kind of people. It's awesome. But yeah, Bubble Code 2, it's an awesome game. And what's going on? As you all have probably noticed, if you even check the site, you son of a bitch, you have not checked the site, you must go check the site down there. I have been doing features. As you know, I am a member of DeviantArt, and as a member of DeviantArt, it is my responsibility to take note of people whose artwork is always significantly better. I love this person I'm about to talk about. I don't know where I met them. See, DeviantArt isn't just about drawings. It's about art forms. It's magical. But as you find out, it comes in all art forms. It comes in all art forms. To get on with the subject, the person I am featuring today is I Want the Stars. The first thing I came across was in her scraps. You know what I saw in their scraps? Bloody nose. Very, very bloody nose. Very, very bloody nose. You're starting from the scraps. The first thing you see is a very, very bloody nose. But it gets better. It gets better. I Want the Stars is mainly a poet. And dear God, is she an awesome poet. Now, you know, people on the internet, you kind of see them when they're a poet. You might think that it's poetry on the internet is not going to be good. That's kind of a lie. A lot of poetry on the internet is rather good. You know why? Because it's an easier medium to get all your stuff out. And, yeah, she's a really good poet. I compare her along the lines of my good friend Civi Q on DeviantArt, Sierang. Oh, they are both good. You have to read like most of them. They're not long. I mean, it's poetry. Most of it isn't long, but if it is long, usually it'll be really good, because that shows a bit of dedication. And even short ones, they're awesome alone. I haven't seen Civi's stuff in a while, but I know her style. It's very good. But I Want the Stars art. She has some art too, but you know, you might want to look into that as well. It's all there. She's really good. You might want to look into her art, but mostly you might want to focus on the poetry so that we can get the bloody nose out of your head. So, I'll see you suckers later. Goodbye. This has been Dylan Vincent with the Eyes of the Beholder. Signing off.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.